Hi, Chris Bodor. Is that correct? Bodor?
That's right, like a bow on a door.
Okay. So I usually start out by asking, what does it mean to you to be Beat Poet Laureate of Florida?
I like that question a lot because I didn't apply for this position. I didn't pay any entry fee um, or fill out any complicated forms. I just did what I've been doing since the 80s after getting um, out of college, and that's just writing poetry and being in the small independent small press, and then of course doing open mics and helping out to give back what's been given to me, those open mic opportunities. So to get this opportunity, I went right to Larry Jaffe, who was the Florida Beat Poet Laureate before me, and kind of like gravitated towards him. He was very kind and encouraging. So, being familiar with North Florida, the fact that I'm living here in Saint Augustine, um, I feel that the Florida Beat Poet Laureate is all encompassing of Florida
Mhm.
and not just specific to one little area. So uh, it's really more than just putting a name or a title. It is a huge recognition.
You feel it validated you somehow in what you're doing?
Um, yes, yes, because of the fact that this is, I call it a lift up. A lot of people will say, what is all this? That this title that has been bestowed upon you, and I said I've been lifted up by Debbie Tosin Kinlay and the Beat Poetry Foundation, and it widens my network of like-minded people.
And people
And
might ask you, well, what is this association or foundation? And you get to tell them and spread the
that's it.
word. Okay,
Yeah,
I read in your bio that you left a job of 10 years in New York City to move to St. Augustine in 2003. Uh, what
yeah.
what was your job in New York?
I was involved with the film and television industry, but as a technician, 100%. I went to school in New Haven, Connecticut for filmmaking and did 4 years of freelancing in the industry, always like on the set. So I was always called away from home to be on location as a production assistant or a technician, like a grip or electric with the lighting department, and then I got an opportunity to work with the School of Visual Arts. So that was my 10-year stint doing audiovisual setups for an art school. I then went to be the audiovisual manager and create my own department there.
Was that
But
in St. Augustine, or are we still talking about New York?
no, we're talking 100% about New York. You're asking like what I had done
Right.
in New York. Yeah.
When you moved to St. Augustine, what is it you do at Flagler College?
I'm actually the um, grounds manager, so I take care of all of anything that's outside pretty much.
Oh,
And I had been talking about how I was at the School of Visual Arts early on in my life in New York City for 10 years. And then I came to Saint Augustine and tried to figure out what kind of job I would be best at. And then for the past 3 years, I've been here at Flagler College doing landscaping, and it's fascinating to think that it took me 19 years to get to another college. It was like that 19 years of searching and trying to figure out how I best could lend my skills. It's really just to find a day job to hang my poetic labor of love
Right.
outpourings, to put food on the table.
It wasn't
Um,
too long before you somehow were able to use the college, or they extended you the opportunity to use it for poetry readings and other
well,
things that you do there.
actually, it's just once a year we celebrate National Poetry Month by having a poet fest. And that actually started in 2022, as we were coming out of COVID. And I had the open mic series going on here in St. Augustine. And we sort of like tried to figure out um, how we were going to come out of COVID and have live gatherings. So I said, I want to have a poet fest, and the English department at Flagler College was like, "This is fantastic. Let's do it." And so that's pretty much how this great opportunity happened here in St. Augustine, and the fact that I had established myself in St. Augustine by doing the open mic readings. Um, we we wanted to emulate opportunities that were best for the college as a showpiece.
Mhm.
So we, just, and that's really the attraction of people wanting to travel and come to St. Augustine and see what's here and experience the town and the small city, and then lend their talents. So, that's pretty much the way that I, as the coordinator of Poet Fest, um, put together the programming. Like, what would you like to offer type of a proposal?
So you've been having off-site readings then. I mean, you're not the open mics are not at the college generally. That's
Correct.
what I'm hearing. And you've been doing that almost since you've been in St. Augustine?
Um, No, it took me about 5 years to figure out, my new like vibe and so forth. And so the open mic series has been going on the last Sunday of the month for 16 years. So this August will be the 17th year. So yeah, it's pretty much since coming down to St. Augustine, and after searching for a couple of years, my wife just flat out said, "Why don't we look around for a coffee shop for you to do open mic reading like you used to do in New York City?" And that was fantastic to just get that support from home and have that opportunity. And so,
So do you call that Ancient City Poets, that open mic?
yes, yeah.
Okay. Does Ancient City Poets also do other types of events like recordings or anything like that?
I put together a YouTube channel for recordings of the open mics and different outreaches. and I was able to get like a really knowledgeable and available video student from the college, and he came on board and was shooting stuff. So we have the because with the whole coming out of COVID, we continued the series. We gravitated to Zoom and had the last Sunday of the month for a couple, about 2 years. We did the readings through Zoom, so those were good recordings too. So after that, I was like, let's get some camera equipment together and have that offering so people could continue to see what we were doing here live in person.
Tell me about Poet Plant Press, when you started that, and what kind of books name some of the books maybe you might have published there, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So about about 15 years ago, I started to put together self-published anthologies, and I would think of a theme. So um, we had the lunch break book as a labor poet. That really spoke to me. So I started asking around for people who had poems that were either written during the lunch break or involved
Hmm.
a whimsical break from the day's work. And then from there, the workbook, a book all about work poems, and then the Love Book, which I believe I got you involved with way back when, and then a lot of those were um, put together in limited runs, and then with poet, um, it was a poet 2000. It was about 2000. Yeah. So I just asked anyone to email me a poem. So that kind of like what the fact that it was in the year 2000, and email was just starting to get popular. So anyone who emailed me a poem, I put into the anthology, and those were the ones that were they were they were just formatted on Microsoft, printed out, and sent off for runs of 100 and
Right.
so forth.
Like the
So
small press of days before computers.
yeah, like when you would put together the
Yeah.
self-addressed stamped envelopes,
Mhm.
I love telling that story. Like you print out your 5 poems, you mail them with a self-addressed stamped envelope, and
Yes. Yeah.
if you got an envelope back that had 4 poems, that meant that they took one of them and they were going to use that.
Right.
And then you could take those 4 remaining ones and mail them to someone else. Yeah.
And we had to wait your time for
Yeah.
the snail mail. Yeah. Those were something else. Okay, one last question. Tell me about the ACPAPA.
Yeah. So it's ancient city poets, authors, photographers, and artists. So that's AC Papa.
Right.
And I try to put that together whenever I can. And it's trying to like document that what the ancient city poets are all about. Because we had this Zoom presence, then that widens the network. Because I always say anyone who reads a poem at the ancient city poets podium becomes a member of the ancient city poets. And so we have people from all over. And then when they come to Poet Fest, they become members of Ancient City Poets. So um, it is a challenge to put together print stuff and always do the editing and spell check and so forth. And but man, when they do come out, they're beautiful looking things with a eye-catching cover and so forth.
Um, were you in the Border Beats anthology?
I was, yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
okay. All right. For the last thing, I would like to ask for you to read a poem for us.
Okay, absolutely. Now, it's a real challenge to just pick one poem, but I love this because I'm gonna type up a backstory and so forth and reveal that later on. So this is a one that's kind of like has a little it reads one way, but then has another story to it. Christmas morning, eating fear for breakfast. Here I am lying in a hotel bed on Christmas morning, conducting inventory. When has fear been my guide, and when have I been guided by love? The complimentary breakfast begins serving at 6 a.m. with make your own misery waffles and humility smoked sausages, smothered with regret, resentment, and remorse. Don't forget to get a plate of eggs not so easy over fear of the unknown, hard, cold stone. Alone in a crowd, silence hurts my ears, stuck in a hole for days, months, and years. I wait. The weight is more than I can endure. I know the cure cast off the weight as heavy as a sewer grate.
Wow. Okay. All righty. Well, thank you so much, Chris. It's nice to finally sort of kind of meet you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Belinda.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.